faithfully conveying value and interpreting great books worldwide. Hello, this is Sally's Book Club. Today we'll interpret the book called Outliers, The Story of Success. In this book, Outliers refers to the rare few who achieve extraordinary career success. The author found their secret isn't talent or effort as we assumed, but opportunity, culture, and environment. The author of Outliers is Malcolm Gladwell, a journalist and best-selling writer. In 2005, his work, The Tipping Point, created an American publishing miracle, topping New York Times bestseller list for 28 consecutive weeks. In Time's global most influential list that year, he ranked higher than Jack Welch, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates. Today I'll unpack Outliers through three key questions. First, what personal factors affect success? Second, what opportunity and environmental factors affect success? Third, how does cultural heritage influence success? Starting with the first question, what personal factors affect success? The author identifies two main factors, the 10,000-hour rule and practical intelligence. What is the 10,000-hour rule? It means achieving expert-level mastery requires at least 10,000 hours of practice. For example, Bill Gates spent nearly 5 years in computer labs from 8th grade through high school, totaling over 10,000 hours. Another example is renowned computer scientist Bill Joy, who dedicated 8 to 10 hours daily to programming since college. At Berkeley, Bill Joy practiced programming day and night, accumulating over 10,000 hours. And there's the Beatles, Britain's most famous rock band. Early on, their songwriting and performing skills were mediocre, limited to 2 to 3 pop songs per show. But in high school, their Hamburg performance opportunity transformed their destiny. In Hamburg, they performed continuously, sometimes over 8 hours daily. From 1960 to 1962, they performed over 1,200 shows, totaling more than 10,000 hours of practice. Now, practical intelligence, a psychological concept by Robert Sternberg, can be understood as the ability to seize opportunities in real life. The author argues practical intelligence matters more than IQ. He illustrates this through two geniuses whose practical intelligence led to vastly different paths. These geniuses were Langdon and Oppenheimer. Despite incredible memory and brilliance in math and philosophy, Langdon never graduated college or made academic impact. Meanwhile, equally brilliant Oppenheimer became a theoretical physics expert at Cambridge and eventually headed the Manhattan Project. Why did both geniuses end up with such dramatically different outcomes? First, Langdon, his mother missed applying for a government scholarship and never reapplied, so he couldn't afford college. Later, when schedule conflicts prevented course changes, he abandoned his studies and dropped out again. He ultimately gave up on education entirely. Oppenheimer, though initially rejected from the atomic project due to college probation, persistently fought for involvement. He secured a management role by demonstrating vision to leaders, then developed effective operational methods for the research, ultimately becoming the project's lead scientist. Compare their journeys. Facing adversity, Oppenheimer created opportunities while Langdon retreated. Despite similar IQs, their achievements diverged immensely. So those are the two personal success factors. That's all for this part. The author believes success requires long-term effort and cultivating practical intelligence. But is that everything for personal success? Of course not. Opportunities and environment also shape success. That's our second focus. First, let's discuss opportunity. What is opportunity? It's the favorable conditions needed for success. The author uses birth dates to demonstrate opportunity's importance. Children born earlier in the year get more success opportunities than same-year peers. A study of Canadian hockey players showed most were born January to March. Strange. Does birth month affect ability? Or are Aquarius folks better at hockey? Neither. Canadian youth hockey groups divide by birth year starting January 1st. So children born January to December play together. Thus, January born kids are nearly a year older than December born teammates. This creates clear physical and mental advantages, triggering chain reactions. January kids get more coach attention, better training, and playing time. Over years, their advantage over December kids grows significantly. This is called the Matthew effect, where the rich get richer. People assume small gaps disappear, but overlook how Matthew effects accumulate. Early advantages often let successful people stay successful. Earth year matters even more than birth month. Being among the first exposed to new innovations brings maximum benefits. Tech giants like Jobs, Gates, Allen, and Ballmer have clustered birth years. Coincidence? Of course not. In 1975, the world's first personal computer debuted, marking the start of the personal computing era. These individuals were exactly 19 to 22 years old in 1975, the age full of boldness and drive, with little family burden or life pressure, allowing them to quickly master computer knowledge and start innovating. Looking domestically, internet companies like NetEase, Tencent, and Sina were founded around 1998, with founders mostly born between 1969 and 1971. What advantages did this timing offer? When they matured, they caught China's first internet wave, giving them better success chances than other age groups. Beyond opportunity, environment is also crucial for personal success. For instance, in the US, there's a huge gap in education spending between middle class and poor families. Poor children struggle to access enough educational resources, and parenting styles differ greatly between these groups. In poor families, parents act as authority figures, deciding education content, while children must obey. In such environments, kids often lack confidence in learning and, accustomed to obedience, miss self-directed goals or development plans. Meanwhile, middle-class families practice collaborative cultivation with schools, focusing on children's interests and treating them equally, allowing kids to ask questions boldly. When kids face unfair treatment at school, parents negotiate with the school to protect rights and encourage questioning unjust decisions. Children raised in such environments become more confident. They also have clearer future plans and higher success probabilities later in life. That covers the book's second part, how opportunity and environment shape personal development paths. Whether birth dates or parenting styles, they all provide opportunities for success. Finally, let's explore how cultural traditions influence personal development. Cultural traditions include honor culture, hierarchy culture, language culture, and ethnic culture. We'll introduce each one. The first cultural tradition is honor culture. Honor culture typically emerges in highland and border regions like Sicily, Basque Country, Scotland, and Ireland, where herding was traditional. Farmers never worried about crops being stolen overnight, but herders lived in constant fear of livestock theft, destroying their livelihoods, forging combative natures. They had to show aggression or be seen as weak targets for greater losses. This became known as honor culture. It binds families tightly, but makes individuals violent and easily provoked, creating unconditional blood loyalty. For example, Appalachia's U.S. immigrants came from deeply rooted honor cultures like Southern Scotland and Northern England. Thus, Appalachia-born individuals are more prone to arguments and fights. Take Breathitt County. From 1860s to 1900s, it had over 1,000 murder trials despite under 15,000 residents, proving honor culture persists despite environmental changes. In the 1990s, University of Michigan conducted an honor culture experiment. It revealed the American South has been more violent than the North since the 1700s, with reputation valuing traits unchanged despite modern living shifts. The second tradition is hierarchy culture, universally present across nations. In this tradition, Everyone occupies specific positions within a ranked system with relative status. For instance, Korean subordinates can't state intentions directly to superiors. They must hint, like when asking, "How about a drink?" Superficially consultative, it actually means the subordinate will fetch the drink. This stems from Koreans' deep reverence for higher ranks, expressed through humble speech. But such linguistic habits once caused several major accidents for Korean airlines. After 1997, Korean Air's crash rate was 17 times higher than U.S. airlines during the same period. By 1999, airlines like American and Air France terminated partnerships with Korean Air. Why so many accidents in Korean airlines? The cause lay in co-pilots' communication style. Often, when noticing issues, co-pilots wouldn't speak directly, but hinted repeatedly to captains or control towers. This led to misunderstandings and accidents. For example, a captain might say, "We're out of fuel, requesting emergency landing." An inexperienced co-pilot might relay it as, "Our fuel tank is empty, requesting landing arrangements." This phrasing wouldn't alert the tower, since most planes land with low fuel. The tower might interpret it as normal operations, since lighter weight aids landing, whereas emergency landing clearly means jumping the queue due to crisis. But landing arrangements lacks that urgency. One Korean flight accident occurred precisely from such tower misinterpretation. The plane crashed after prolonged waiting exhausted its fuel. Korean Air later transformed by dismantling hierarchical culture, learning from Western crews, and switching to English, gaining global safety recognition. Finally, let's discuss language, culture, and ethnic traditions. Westerners often perceive Asians, especially Chinese, as having strong math learning advantages. The author attributes this to linguistic culture. Chinese numbers have simpler pronunciation and structure than English. Try saying numbers above 10 in both languages. Chinese is clearly easier. In writing, Chinese 11 is 10 plus 1, 12 is 10 plus 2, but English has irregular forms like 11 and 12, making math faster for Chinese children to learn and compute. Beyond linguistic advantages, the book identifies another cause for East-West math achievement gaps. It's Asia's rice paddy culture. This agricultural tradition enables Easterners to excel in mathematics. First, what is rice paddy culture? Rice dominates Asian agriculture, requiring constant irrigation for growth. Rice is vulnerable to invasive plants, demanding manual weeding. With limited land and dense populations, farmers increase output through multiple annual plantings. For millennia, Asian rice farmers worked twice as long annually as Western counterparts. This forged Asia's unique perseverance ethos, whereas Western farmers practice crop rotation to prevent soil depletion. Thus, they work only about 1,200 hours yearly, often resting otherwise. This influenced Western education too. Reformers extended summer breaks to prevent mental depletion. Some may wonder, how does farming culture create math advantages? Mathematician Alan Schoenfeld demonstrated this connection. His research shows attitude outweighs innate ability in math learning, meaning sufficient effort enables anyone to master mathematics. Rice culture drives Asian children to study harder and longer, yielding better results. As adults, they outperform Western peers in math-intensive fields. That concludes this point. We've now covered the book's third section. Cultural traditions shape worldviews and behaviors, causing varied reactions to identical situations, ultimately yielding different outcomes. That completes our interpretation. Let's briefly recap. First, success requires 10,000 hours of practice plus practical intelligence. Second, opportunities and environment, like birth timing and family background, grant crucial advantages. Finally, cultural heritage shapes individuals' cognition and behavior. In Outliers, the author demonstrates that personal effort and talent aren't sole determinants of success. Successful people don't rely entirely on individual struggle either. In reality, they benefit from hidden advantages, perhaps extraordinary opportunities, or certain cultural legacies enabling faster learning, better execution, and extraordinary world perception. Thus, many achievers are products of history, crystallizations of opportunity and environment. Those who recognize their environment and seize each opportunity stand better chances of success. That concludes our interpretation of outliers. Reading notes are below the audio. See you tomorrow.